On September 23rd, 2019, around 4:30 p.m., Lisa Snyder called 911 from her home. The dispatch tells the fire captain, quote, "She mentioned that the 8-year-old has been bullied and has made threats of doing this but didn't want to go alone." End quote. The 8-year-old was Connor Snyder, a third grader at Greenwich Elementary School. Connor loved his 4-year-old sister Brinley, who is in her second year of pre-K. So now their mother was calling 911 and she's building a narrative before she even speaks to police officers. A narrative that would be really hard for anyone to believe. That her 8-year-old son had himself and his sister in the basement of their home. Later, when she speaks to police, she would tell them what happened that afternoon. She says Connor got home from school. He came inside and he wanted to play on his iPad. But then he changed his mind and he decided to play on his laptop but couldn't find the power cord. So he asked his little sister Brinley if she wanted to go downstairs in the basement with him and build a fort. Lisa stated to police that, quote, "He loves building forts, that's his thing. They play downstairs in the basement all the time." End quote. Connor asked his mom if he could bring 2 wooden stools downstairs with him for the fort, I guess, and Lisa said he could as long as he was able to get them downstairs and back up on his own. And she goes into great detail about Connor bringing the stools downstairs. She said that he took the chairs down one by one and one step at a time, and she could hear the bumps of each stair he had bumped going down. And she said it was a hard going, but she knew he could do it. And then he grabbed a single wired cable dog lead with the vinyl coating and swivel eye sharp hooks on both ends. He grabbed this off the kitchen table. Now let's talk about this. The family did have a dog, 5-month-old Boomer, who was a black husky pit bull mix, but Boomer also weighed 50 pounds, and this dog lead was meant for much bigger dogs. It had a weight limit of 250 pounds. So Lisa Snyder had ordered this dog lead from the Hamburg Walmart the night before, and she picked it up the same morning at 9:30 a.m. And she wants us to believe that her 8-year-old son specifically took this off the kitchen table so that he could bring his 4-year-old sister downstairs and take both of their lives. While Connor was going up and down the stairs from the basement, Lisa was folding laundry, and then she went outside with Boomer, the dog, and she told police that she was only out of the house for roughly 10 minutes before she went back inside, and then she went down to the basement to ask her children if they wanted Chef Boyardee or frozen pizza for dinner, and that is when she found them. According to the affidavit of the probable cause, Connor and Brinley were found hanging 3 feet apart. They were hanging from the wire dog lead, and this wire dog lead had been wrapped around the main support beam, one end around Connor's neck and the other around Brinley's neck. The 2 bar-height wooden stools were nearby, tipped over, and Connor and Brinley were still alive. Now, what would you do if you found your kids like this? Would you do anything to get them down and try to save them, right? Like any normal person would do that. Lisa told police that she tried to get Brinley down. She weighed 40 pounds, but Lisa said she couldn't get the clasp on the wire undone because she has spikes in her stress and anxiety. She sweats profusely, so her hands were just too sweaty. She claimed she couldn't undo it and save her daughter's life. She couldn't have wiped her hands off, put on a pair of gloves. So Lisa left Brinley hanging, and then she tried to get Connor down, but Connor weighed 150 pounds, so she was unable to because she says he was too heavy. So she left the basement. She called 911, and then according to her own statement, she never returned to the basement where her children were in need of her help. She didn't pick up the stools and place them underneath Connor and Brinley. She didn't run screaming to a neighbor's house to ask for help. She didn't get a knife and attempt to cut the wire lead. She didn't get wire cutters that she probably had in her garage because she supposedly refurnishes furniture and does all this types of stuff. At 4:41 p.m., the Kempton Fire Department EMTs arrived at the residence. Now, Eric was one of them, and the other EMTs were told that Lisa Snyder would be waiting outside the house for them. But as they approached the house, no one was waiting outside, so they knocked on the door and Lisa answered. She was talking on her cell phone, and Eric would later testify that she seemed nervous and anxious, but she wasn't crying. And when he looked to his left, he saw Brindley and Connor hanging from the rafters, and their bodies were still warm, so the EMTs immediately started working on freeing them from their nooses. All of this happened while Lisa was still upstairs on the phone. Eric was able to release the clasp that held Brindley, but his partner was having trouble with Connor, who was admittedly heavy for his age, so Eric helped, and soon both got both children down, and they were able to perform CPR on them. The children were unconscious but still alive, and they were immediately airlifted to Lehigh Valley Hospital, where they were put on life support. She indicated that Connor had been bullied on multiple occasions since the first grade, that he had told her he wanted to unalive himself. He lost 25 pounds since school started because he was starving himself. This leads me to wonder if Connor was starved but not by himself, if Lisa knew what she was going to do, where this was all going, and the evidence to show that this was premeditated. Did she start withholding food from her son to support the alibi she knew she would later have to give law enforcement? Connor wanted to unalive himself because of the bullies, but he's a kid, right? So he doesn't want to face the unknown by himself. And he's going to bring his little buddy, his little sister, with him so that they could go together. Lisa laid it all out for the police. No need for an investigation, right? Certainly not, because from the first moment the police felt that Lisa's story was very off. The day that Connor died, the footage showed him on the bus laughing. He wasn't getting bullied. He wasn't showing any signs of getting bullied, and shows him getting off the bus, smiling, showing no signs of distress, and he ran home, probably looking forward to playing with his little sister, seeing his mom. And all of his teachers at Connor's school were like, bullying? What bullying? They had never seen it happen. Additionally, Lisa, Connor, and Brindley were not the only people living in the house. Lisa had a 17-year-old son, Owen, who resided there. And although he wasn't home at the time of the incident, he was interviewed by police later, and he also claimed that Connor wasn't being bullied, and he knew this because he had asked Connor directly. Apparently, Lisa had made mention to Owen that Connor was having problems with other kids at school. So like a big brother would, Owen approached Connor and talked to him about it, and Connor expressed confusion, and he said that he was not being bullied. Owen also said that his little brother and little sister, they never played in the basement because they were scared or play, and he could only remember one single time where they played in the basement. Owen did not dispute that Connor and Brindley liked to build forts, but he said they always built forts in the living room using sofa cushions and chairs, that they never built fort in the basement. Additionally, friends of Lisa told police that she got a text from Lisa on September 16th. Lisa told her that her son Connor was suicidal due to being bullied at school. But the same friend picked Connor up from school that same day, and she saw him sitting with his friends laughing as she pulled up. He was in good spirits, and he never mentioned being bullied while in the car, having thoughts of harming himself or anything like that. So 3 weeks prior to this, police saw what she Googled, if hybrid cars gave off carbon monoxide by idling, and things like that. So they found a lot of evidence that this was premeditated. And plus, Connor had a lot of disabilities, like motor skills and stuff like that. So there's no way he would be able to tie that up and tie both of them up and do this on his own. So so Lisa was finally arrested December 2nd. She was charged with 2 counts of first degree and 2 counts of third degree and 2 counts of endangering the welfare of a child, and 1 count of tampering of evidence. So pretty sad story. So sad. She didn't care about her kids and wanted to blame everything on her poor little 8-year-old boy. But